I've got the Trump shirt on, and I've got some bad news, potentially speaking. I don't know what's true, but we are. The reason I created this channel is because I want to fight for truth and justice, and not everything may be as it seems. So, is it two wings of the same broken bird? Well, probably. I hate to say that. It's not really a Republican or Democrat issue, but there's a lot going on with the Jeffrey Epstein thing, and this story's not going away anytime soon. So, I'm coming across some news now. It's really hard to even put this out there because everything that Donald Trump stood and fought for, I don't want to say it's going to be nullified, but it's going to be looked at really bad from what's coming out. So let's start with Jeffrey Epstein, then I'll get on to the Donald Trump stuff. Okay, so what's in the news is the Epstein list, right? You all know Pam Bondi, Attorney General. And what's going on with that? Well, in February they said that they had the list. I think they were talking about a client list of the airplane logs of all the celebrities who flew in and out of the island. And so far as I know, I don't think Donald Trump did ever fly to the island. There is some news regarding Donald Trump that, if it's true, is going to be absolutely damaging. But it's not him, I don't think, flying out to the island. I think what this is happened somewhere else. If it's true, I don't know. I can't confirm it, and we shouldn't necessarily just rush to believe everything we see right away, but it looks like it could be true. Let's get back to Pam Bondi and the Epstein list. Back in February, she said that it wasn't there. I mean, that she had it, and they were going to release it in 3 phases, right? Y'all remember that. And now all of a sudden, Trump is saying that it just doesn't exist, that there is no thing. And now you guys know about Elon Musk's verbal spat with Donald Trump, and Elon Musk keeps saying, "Oh, Donald Trump is on the list." Well, there's some confusion about what the list is. Well, I saw on TikTok somebody had posted something that's been out there for years, actually, and it's actually Jeffrey Epstein's full client list. So, not even his full client list, just everybody that he knew, like an expanded phone book, if you will. Everybody's contact information that he's had dealings with. And I'm going to release that on a YouTube short for you guys, so make sure you check this channel. If it doesn't come out tonight, I'm going to have it tomorrow for you. So I work 4 jobs. It's a little bit tough for me to find the time, but there are a lot of names on this list, and apparently it's been out there for years. Why are we not hearing about it? Why is Trump acting like this list doesn't exist? Oh, it's out there. So, and Donald Trump's name actually is on this expanded phone book, if you will. Yeah, I'm not talking about the manifest from the flights. What I'm talking about is just everybody that has had dealings with Jeffrey Epstein over the years. Now, I don't know how far dated back that this list is. I would say it's dated back quite a few years. I mean, there's the former prime minister of Israel on there, and he has Secret Service protecting him. Why would the former prime minister of Israel need Secret Service when he's on a flight of going to Jeffrey Epstein's island? It's what it says on here. But there's a lot going on, and Donald Trump's name is on there. Some people are saying it's on there 5 times. It was on there at least a few. I don't know. I saw it a few times. What does it really mean? Well, that in itself doesn't necessarily prove that bad things were necessarily happening. It just means he had contact with all these people. There's a lot of shady characters on that list, and like I said, tune in for that short. I'm going to try to put it out there. It's just going to be a bunch of screenshots of this, and I'm going to post the link. That way you guys can access it yourself. It's 95 pages, and you just scroll down and see everything that's on it. I actually found a lot of stuff that's very, very intriguing. You guys that have been following the channel, you know that I kind of call out the Freemasons a lot. We had the second one, he never really attacked me, but he kind of infiltrated, lied about who he was a little bit. I'm not going to mention his name, but that name's on that list. It may not be exactly his name, but they're based out of the United Kingdom, London, I believe. It's very similar. It's too coincidental for me. We also found a lot of actors, Hollywood celebrities on there. I think Chris Tucker's name was on the list. Martha's Vineyard came up on there. There's a lot. Like I said, tune in for that. But let's get on a little bit more about what's going on with the FBI and the FBI just basically with the new guys that got in there. Dan Bongino. You guys know Dan Bongino. He's the one that did all the YouTube podcasts and stuff. Very famous guy. Well, he's now the head of or the one of the heads of the FBI. Kosh Patel's over it all. I think he's like chief deputy director or something. And he came out with the video saying that, oh, well, this isn't true, that there's no evidence to support that Jeffrey Epstein was murdered. And, well, now Wired Magazine is actually challenging the FBI, and they're claiming, Wired Magazine is saying that that footage appears to have been stitched together. So remember the old adage of saying a stitch in time saves nine. Well, if you're stitching time out and you're taking the middle part out, I mean this happened the night of August 9th, going into August 10th of 2018. I had just joined the army July 4th of 2018. So I kind of missed all this because in basic training I had no cell phone for 3 months. I didn't know any of this was going on. So that Jeffrey Epstein was supposedly suicided, but no, he was taken out. And after the fact, when I learned about it, when I hit my first duty station in Germany, the video was leaked that saying that it was some man wearing a prosthetic mask. The earlobes were originally attached, and then all of a sudden they just weren't. That it wasn't really Jeffrey Epstein. But the FBI comes out and says, well, no, there's no evidence whatsoever. And this is Dan Bongino saying this, guys. I really respect this guy. Like, he stands for truth and justice and all this stuff. But if they forced him to lie, then, ooh, this cover-up's so big. And the bad news that I'm seeing on TikTok about Trump is a woman by the name of Katie Johnson, I believe is her name. And if you go to Katie Johnson and watch her interview on there, I can upload it. But she is saying that basically she was 13 and Trump was with Jeffrey Epstein, and that he said that she reminded him of his 13-year-old daughter. And I believe it would have been Ivanka. I do believe. He's no, it might have been Tiffany maybe at the time. I'm not sure. I think there's Tiffany Trump and then Ivanka Trump. Ivanka Trump's name is also on that client list of Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not sure what that all means, or it just means that he had contact with these people. But my thing is, well, I was thinking Trump would never do that either because, everything Trump stands for is saving the children and the human trafficking stuff. And, I don't know, but they're saying that if you go to TikTok and you look up Katie Johnson, they're saying that they had to drop their lawsuits against him right before he became president in 2016. And she's claiming that Trump, wanted a hand job from her, and that she had to put a glove on and all this stuff. So I don't know. I don't know, and that's why I say it's I certainly don't want to give the libs any power here. I really don't, because what Trump has been doing as president is awesome. And I even said that about Elon Musk with the Doge stuff, like all the corruption they were finding with Elon Musk. I support all that stuff. I really like all the corruption they found, and if they return that money to us, that's great. That's what we need. But Elon Musk, now he's going at Trump and he's trying to start this America party. Don't fall for this crap, guys. Elon Musk is a very evil man. I mean, if you juxtapose the letters of his name, Elon, it comes out to lone, and Musk, and if you could say lone scum, that's what I kind of came up with. Lone scum, Elon Musk. But he's got a backstory too that's not good. Now, I don't know if there's anything sexual involved, but Elon Musk, the way he came to power from his dad's diamond mines and all this stuff in South Africa and just all the stuff he's done. Donald Trump is right about Elon Musk. Elon Musk wants everybody to buy an electric car. And, he got pissed when Trump said no, everybody should have the choice. And he's right about that. Everybody should have the choice. We should not be forced into buying electric vehicles. Nikola Tesla would be rolling in his grave to know that Elon Musk put Tesla's name on these electric vehicles because Nikola Tesla wanted free electric for everybody. Back when he was going at it with General Electric and Marconi, they didn't like Nikola Tesla because Tesla wanted free electric for everybody. He truly cared about people, and they kind of discredited all the patents that Tesla had on all his inventions, and the only thing they gave him credit for was that coiled copper wire going up for Nikola Tesla. That's the only thing they'll give him credit for, the Tesla coil. That guy had 95 different inventions. So many different patents, and he was really the chief pioneer, and they all stole or Thomas Edison stole his electric stuff and became rich. So I'm sure he'd be rolling in the grave to know that Elon Musk is putting his name on these Tesla cars, you know, and I just don't support it because when the electric grid goes down, what happens? Well, your electric car is useless. So, but yeah, I don't know. I would check all that out with Trump because I'm telling you what, you know, I support Trump, but the thing is, if that stuff is true, that would make him a pedophile. I hope it's not true. I really hope it's not true, guys. But like I said, he is on that full client list. He's not on the Epstein flight list going to Epstein Island. There's no proof or record of that I'm aware of. Um, but yeah, it doesn't look good. And when you see that Dan Bongino is saying that there's no evidence that Jeffrey Epstein was murdered in his or was murdered in his prison cell, and they're trying to say that he hung himself, I never believed it. You know, we knew the FBI was corrupt before, but when you think that Kosh Patel and Jan Bongino's taken over, you say, okay, we're cleaning all this up, just like Trump said. But and I want to believe that, but you know, when some of you guys know that I've been following the um, Gretchen Fleming case, and when I called the Pittsburgh field office for FBI, they flagged my number. I can't even get through. I mean, I could call from a different cell phone number, sure, and say, hey, I've got this information, but the FBI is not really taking it up. I mean, they did go. I don't want to get too much into this story. We're talking about Trump and everything here, but you know, they did the luminol treatment at that one house, but we've heard nothing since. So we are 99% sure that the guy in the suspect in that case, the person of interest, Preston Pierce, is a Freemason. We really are. I mean, he's never been charged. So that's one thing on this channel we're just tired of is women becoming victims. And women should never be victims. They should not be sexually harassed. They should not be victimized. They should not be murdered and thrown out by creeks. So if this happens to be true, and I hope and I pray to God it's not true, but I will say, remember Virginia Giuffre? We covered her on a video about a month and a half ago, and she was murdered. She was an Epstein victim. She said that Epstein was pimping her out. She said that Epstein was pimping Virginia Giuffre out when she was underage. I think she was 16. She was 17 at the time. This was 2000. But Virginia Giuffre would come out and say, hey, yeah, I'm being pimped out, and all these people are involved. And it was silent. She was hushed up, and there were 2 murder attempts on her life. It was a school bus going 72 miles an hour in Gold Coast, Australia, and with kids on it, and making a turn that it shouldn't have made, and it hit her on her side, and she was a passenger, and she almost died from it. She had like bruising all over and hemorrhages, and she was recovering in the hospital, and then she gets out on her family farm in Australia, and all of a sudden she's just dead, and they said it's a suicide. Well, you know that she was silenced, just like oh gosh, my brain. I'm don't get old. Phil oh, I can't remember the guy's last name. The alien stuff that I've been covering. He was murdered because he kept coming out about the Greys and the reptilians. So, and I do need to do another video on him as well, but he was based out of Portland, Oregon. But yeah, so there's a lot going on. Like I said, check out Katie Johnson. I'm going to try to upload that short for you guys about the Epstein client list because Trump is now saying it doesn't exist. And what do we think's going on with the whole Pam Bondi thing? Well, Matt Gaetz is the guy he originally wanted for Attorney General, and we wonder that maybe Trump is just going to fire Pam Bondi. He's backing her right now and saying she's doing a great job. You know, let her do her job. But let's be honest here. Pam Bondi in February said that the Epstein client list or the flight logs would be released in 3 phases, and now they're not released, and Trump's saying it just doesn't even exist. It just doesn't make sense, guys. So it is what it is. One thing about Preston Pierce, for you guys who have been following the Gretchen case, is we are getting reports that he has maybe moved to Florida. I don't know what part. Last we knew, he was in Huntington, West Virginia, and was dating a woman by the name of Cheryl. So that's all we knew. He had traded in one of the vehicles. He had 2 of them by the same name of the previous vehicle he had before, but all we know is maybe he's relocated to Florida to try to get off the grid. Fort Knox, somebody's asking about that. Yeah, I was on Army training in the reserves at Fort Knox. It went smooth. We had cicadas come out, and then, you know, the Pacers were in the finals. I covered that, and now I've been back. So, but yeah, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Stay tuned. This Epstein story is not going away anytime soon, and it shouldn't. It shouldn't. I don't think he killed himself. He was only there. This was on August 9th to the 10th. So my birthday's on August 10th. I always have a way of making every story about me. But yeah, I didn't even know it happened in 18 until after the fact. Like I said, I was in basic training without a cell phone. But so you mean tell me like he was a couple hours into the jail on August 9th, and then after midnight sometime, they're saying is when he suicided himself. But nah, bro, he was taken out. The earlobes were connected and then they weren't. It's a lot like the George Floyd thing. It's the same thing. There was a video out there with George Floyd. They said the same thing. It was a guy wearing a prosthetic mask after the fact. People don't want to believe that because it's conspiracy theory that they say, but that video was deleted, and that story was hushed right up. It got a lot of views when it came out, but anyway, one more thing. Yesterday was the 1 year anniversary of the assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. Butler's a big name. It always comes up in America's history. I don't know why, but there is meaning to it. But if you recall, Trump said that, that was the first time Trump ever had Secret Service in there. Well, now news is breaking as of yesterday that Secret Service actually knew about the attack 10 days before July, whatever yesterday was, July 13th, I don't know. Time's running together for me, but they knew about it 10 days in advance. And if you remember, that was the very first time Trump had Secret Service there, right? So why would Secret Service have dropped the ball along with the Butler Police Department and let that go in? Why would Matthew Thomas Crooks climb up on the AGR building and then through that second story window, and then we found out police were in the building right beside it watching him climb up to the roof? You got to be kidding me. You can't just watch somebody climb up to the roof with a gun, dude. An AGR gun, like seriously, that his dad bought. So we know it was all allowed to happen. Was it a setup to make Trump win the presidency? I don't think so. Some people have said that, but I think it actually was a real attempt to try to take him out, honestly. And I think maybe God protected him. I don't know. I don't know. But personally, I'd say that they just missed by millimeters. So there was that second shooter on the water tower. That was Antifa. That's all been hushed up. Nobody knows about it, but there was a grainy footage taken by a woman in the stands at the Butler Fairgrounds of a second shooter up there, and she even said, yeah, I heard pop, pop, pop coming from the water tower, back past the combine and that crane that was out there. So, and that crane was situated right by where Corey Compiratore, the 50-year-old who got shot and murdered. So you knew they weren't rubber bullets. Corey Compiratore was dead, and there was blood, and a guy, helped him and everything. Tried to revive him, but so yeah, some people were saying, oh, it was rubber bullets and stuff. No, it wasn't. Like, Trump was bleeding so much that when he went into the hospital, that they said that they thought he was shot 5 times. So I think it was an attempt to actually seriously take him out JFK style. They just happened to fail on that. But yeah, like I said, do I support everything Trump has done in his presidency? Yes, I do. I do think he's right that the first 6 months have been more productive than any other presidency. But I just hope that the past isn't true. I really don't. So I appreciate you guys who have chimed in. Marcy, thank you for your comments. I appreciate you. I'm trying to catch up with your comments on here. I will say that I will let you know there are Freemasons who do attack me on a lot of my live streams. What they do is they'll usually wait until the very end, and then they'll come out with some off-kilter comment or something. So I don't know, but I'm going to come out with more about that. I'm going to come out with more about what they are, who they do, who they really serve, because it's bad. I'm not going to necessarily mention the people who have attacked me by name, but just know that if you're doing something right and they get mad, then that means you're doing something right. If they're mad and they're attacking you or whatever. So it is what it is. But yes, definitely have faith in Jesus. He's the only way. If you haven't given your life to Jesus, please do it. We all slip up. I cussed real bad this week. I was brought to anger by an invoking spirit, and I lost faith and said something I shouldn't have, and I asked for forgiveness. We all make mistakes. I try not to. Nobody's perfect. I always say that on this channel, but we try. We want to do good. We want to help people. We want to lead people to Jesus. It's not about us. It's about Him. So thank you guys. As always, I appreciate you, and I'll try to get that short done for you. Until then, guys, Godspeed, and thanks for tuning in.